The vast emptiness of space seemed peaceful to Commander Drell as he stood on the bridge of the Vex flagship *Dominant*. His four eyes blinked in sequence, each pupil adjusting to the dim blue lighting that his species preferred. The forward view screen showed a small blue-green planet, the third from an unremarkable yellow star. "Scan complete, Commander," reported Officer Toole, her gray skin reflecting the console's glow. "The planet is inhabited by bictal life forms. They call themselves humans, and their world Earth." Drell moved closer to examine the data. The Vex Confederation had conquered 12 systems already, and this isolated planet seemed like an easy addition to their growing empire. "What is their technological level?" Drell asked, mandibles clicking with interest. "Primitive, Commander," Tull replied. "They have basic space flight capabilities limited to their own moon and nearest planet. Their weapons are mainly projectile-based with some nuclear capacity. Their global communication network is easily accessible and unprotected." Drell made a sound that resembled laughter. "They still use combustion engines for space travel. How quaint." The other officers on the bridge joined in his amusement. The Vex had mastered faster-than-light travel 3 centuries ago. These humans were barely out of their cradle. "Their military forces?" Drell inquired, already calculating how few ships would be needed for the conquest. "Divided into national factions. No unified planetary defense system detected. Their orbital presence consists of scientific stations and communication satellites. No weapons platforms in space." Drell's upper eyes closed in satisfaction. "Perfect. Prepare a report for the High Council. I recommend a Class 3 acquisition. We shouldn't waste resources on such an easy target." As Tull compiled the data, Drell studied the blue planet. The humans would make useful workers in the mines of Vex-controlled worlds. Their world contained valuable elements and abundant water. It was a prize worth taking, but hardly worth a full battle fleet. 3 days later, the High Council approved Drell's recommendation. A small fleet of 50 warships, merely a fraction of the Vex military might, was assigned to claim Earth for the Confederation. "The Council found your assessment accurate," Admiral Grond told Drell through the communication link. "You will lead the acquisition force. The humans should surrender quickly once they see our capabilities." "It will be a simple operation," Drell agreed confidently. "I expect to report success within their planetary cycle." What neither Drell nor any other Vex knew was that deep beneath the Pacific Ocean on Earth, an alert was sounding in a facility unknown to the public. Admiral Lisa Reed stared at the blinking red lights on her command console. The hidden sensors beyond Mars had detected the Vex ships weeks ago. The Earth Defense Force had been monitoring their communications, learning their language and intentions. "They're coming with only 50 ships," said her second-in-command, Captain Tom Miller. "They think we're defenseless." Reed's face remained calm, but her eyes showed determination. "Let them think that. Phase 1 protocols remain in effect. All advanced tech stays hidden. Our visible defenses will fight and fall as expected. The orbital stations are prepared to evacuate secretly before destruction," Miller confirmed. "The surface forces know to use only conventional weapons initially." Reed nodded and pressed a button, sending an encrypted message to bases hidden on the Moon, Mars, and deep within Earth's crust. "Let the Vex come thinking victory will be easy. Let them laugh at our apparent weakness." She looked at the strategic display showing the approaching Vex fleet, then at another screen revealing hundreds of advanced human ships waiting silently in the dark reaches of the solar system. They'll learn soon enough that appearances can be deceiving. The Vex invasion began with a display of power meant to terrify humanity into submission. 50 warships appeared in Earth's sky, their sleek hulls gleaming like polished obsidian against the blue atmosphere. They positioned themselves over major cities: New York, Beijing, London, Moscow, Tokyo, hovering with deliberate menace. Commander Drell watched from the bridge of the *Dominant* as smaller craft descended toward Earth's surface. His lips curled in what passed for a smile among his kind. "Send the formal demand for surrender," he ordered. "Let them see the futility of resistance." On Earth's surface, panic erupted as expected. News channels broadcast images of the alien ships. Government leaders gathered in emergency sessions. Military bases worldwide went on high alert. In the underground command center, Admiral Reed watched it all unfold exactly as planned. "All nations have activated Protocol Omega," Captain Miller reported. "Our conventional forces are responding as directed." Reed nodded. "And our real defenses?" "Still dark, Admiral. The Vex have no idea they exist." On the main screen, they watched as Earth's jets scrambled to meet the alien ships. The fighters looked impressive to human eyes. F-35s, Su-57s, J-20s, the best conventional aircraft Earth officially possessed. Against the Vex, they might as well have been paper planes. Energy beams lashed out from the alien vessels, slicing through the human aircraft with terrifying ease. Across the globe, similar scenes played out. Earth's visible military might crumble before the invaders. In orbit, Commander Drell received reports of victory after victory. "Their primitive aircraft are no match for our technology," Officer Toole reported. "They're sending more, but the outcome is the same." "What about their nuclear weapons?" Drell asked, his 4 eyes blinking with caution. "Some have been launched, but our shields easily absorb the impacts. We've neutralized most of their missile silos." Drell clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. "Begin landings in their key government centers. I want their leaders captured within one planetary rotation." As Vex dropships descended on Washington, D.C., Beijing, and other capitals, Earth's resistance continued to falter, visibly. Tanks and artillery fell silent. Communication networks went offline. To all appearances, humanity was on the brink of defeat. In the underground command center, Admiral Reed received word that the President and other key leaders had been safely evacuated to secure facilities deep beneath the Rocky Mountains and other hidden locations across the globe. "The Vex are declaring victory," Miller said, showing Reed a broadcast the aliens were transmitting globally. Commander Drell stood proudly, announcing that Earth now belonged to the Vex Confederation. "Let them celebrate," Reed replied calmly. "Phase 2 begins now." She pressed her palm against a scanner, then entered a complex code. Deep signal jammers activated, blocking specific frequencies the Vex used for long-range communication. To the aliens, it would appear as simple atmospheric interference. "They can no longer send detailed reports to their homeworld," Reed explained. "Now we control what information leaves our solar system." Across Earth, resistance fighters retreated into prepared bunkers. In seemingly abandoned farms and forests, hidden hangar doors slid open, revealing advanced weapon systems that had never appeared on any official inventory. On the moon's far side, in caverns dug decades ago, engineers powered up facilities that housed technology far beyond what humanity publicly acknowledged possessing. Commander Drell, celebrating his easy victory, ordered his troops to begin processing humans for transport to labor colonies. He drafted a message to the High Council. Earth secured with minimal losses. Indigenous resistance crushed. Resource extraction can begin immediately. As his message transmitted into space, weakened by Earth's atmospheric interference, he had no idea he was following a script written years before by humans who had prepared for this moment with patience and foresight. "Let them think they've won," Admiral Reed told her staff. "The real battle hasn't even started." 3 weeks after the invasion, Commander Drell paced the bridge of the *dominant*, his clawed feet clicking against the metal floor. Something didn't feel right. The conquest had been too easy. "Status report on the human processing," he demanded. Officer Toole pulled up holographic displays showing progress across Earth. "We've established control centers in 37 major cities. Human resistance continues with primitive guerrilla tactics, but nothing significant. And the resource extraction, proceeding as scheduled. The first shipments of rare minerals are being loaded now." Drell nodded but couldn't shake his unease. He had led 12 planetary conquests, and something about this one felt wrong. The humans fought with outdated weapons, yet their tactics showed surprising sophistication. What about the anomalous readings from their moon? He asked suddenly. Tull hesitated. Our sensors detected unusual energy fluctuations 2 days ago, but they disappeared before we could investigate. Likely just residual radiation from their primitive nuclear tests. Send a scout ship anyway, Drell ordered. I want that entire moon scanned thoroughly. 6 hours later, the scout ship approached the far side of Earth's moon. The pilot transmitted regular updates as they circled the gray surface. Nothing unusual detected, Commander. Just dust and... The transmission cut off abruptly. Restore contact, Drell shouted. Officer Tull worked frantically at her console. Unable to reach them. No distress signal. They're just... gone. Drell's 4 eyes narrowed. Send 2 more ships. Full combat readiness. Meanwhile, in a vast underground chamber beneath the lunar surface, the wreckage of the Vex scout ship was being examined by human scientists in advanced pressure suits. Their facility, hidden from Earth's own public for decades, stretched for kilometers beneath the crater-marked surface. General James Parker watched through reinforced glass as technicians dismantled the alien craft. How long before they send more? He asked. The analyst beside him checked her display. Based on their communication patterns, 2 more ships are already on their way. ETA 20 minutes. Parker nodded and activated his secure link to Earth. Admiral Reed, they're getting suspicious. The lunar defense grid took down their scout. In her command center beneath the Pacific, Reed processed this development. It's happening sooner than we planned. Activate Phase 3 immediately. Across Earth, in forests and deserts, beneath mountains and oceans, hidden installations powered up. On Mars, nestled within the Valles Marineris Canyon system, a massive facility that had been disguised as a natural rock formation suddenly hummed with energy. The 2 Vex combat ships approached the moon cautiously, weapons charged. They detected nothing unusual until they passed over the same region where their scout had disappeared. A focused beam of energy, unlike anything in the Vex arsenal, lanced up from the lunar surface. The first ship disintegrated instantly. The second managed to transmit a partial warning before it too was destroyed. On the *dominant*, Drell received the fragmented message and felt cold dread for the first time in his military career. All ships on high alert, he commanded. The humans have concealed weapons on their moon. Even as he spoke, Vex ground forces on Earth began reporting unexpected resistance. Human fighters emerged from hidden bunkers with weapons that cut through Vex armor with ease. In orbit, 3 Vex ships suddenly lost power, disabled by weapons fired from what appeared to be ordinary satellites. Impossible, Tull whispered, watching the reports flood in. Their technology is years beyond what we detected. Drell stared at the tactical display as more red warnings appeared. They deceived us, he realized. The humans wanted us to think they were primitive. In her command center, Admiral Reed watched as Phase 3 unfolded. The look of satisfaction on her face was tempered by the knowledge that the real battle was just beginning. Send word to the outer system, she told Captain Miller. Tell Admiral Grant it's time to bring the fleet home. Alerts blared across the *dominant* as Commander Drell struggled to understand what was happening. 8 Vex ships had been disabled in the last 12 hours, and ground forces reported heavy losses against suddenly well-armed human resistance fighters. How is this possible? Drell demanded, slamming his fist on the command console. Their weapons technology has advanced by centuries overnight. Officer Tull worked frantically, analyzing the data streaming in from all sectors. Commander, I believe they concealed their true capabilities. These weapons aren't new. They were hidden. On the main screen, footage showed human soldiers wielding energy rifles that cut through Vex armor like paper. In orbit, seemingly ordinary satellites had transformed into defensive platforms, disabling Vex ships with precise electromagnetic pulses. Send a priority message to the High Council, Drell ordered. Request immediate reinforcements. The humans are more dangerous than we assessed. Sir, our long-range communications are still experiencing interference, Tull reported. Messages are degrading beyond lunar orbit. Drell's eyes narrowed in realization. It's not interference. They're jamming us deliberately. In her underwater command center, Admiral Reed watched the Vex confusion with grim satisfaction. Tactical displays showed green dots representing human resistance cells activating across the globe. London has pushed back the Vex to their landing zone, Captain Miller reported. Tokyo and Sydney sectors report similar success. Reed nodded. And the Mars defense grid? Fully operational, Admiral. They've already destroyed 3 Vex ships that attempted to investigate the energy readings. Reed studied the orbital map, showing the remaining Vex fleet reorganizing into defensive formations. 42 ships remained operational out of the original 50. Good odds, but not good enough for what was coming next. Activate the Jupiter stations, she ordered. It's time to reveal our outer defenses. Beyond the asteroid belt, in the shadow of Jupiter's massive bulk, a series of stations built into the moons of Ganymede and Callisto powered up. These installations, constructed in total secrecy over 2 decades, housed Earth's most advanced weapon systems, technology that had never been revealed even to most of humanity. On the dominant asterisk, a junior officer rushed to Drell's side. Commander, massive energy signatures detected near Jupiter. The main screen shifted to show the gas giant. Points of brilliant light flared from several of its moons, and moments later, 3 more Vex ships reported critical system failures before going dark. They have weapons that can reach us from Jupiter's orbit. Drell couldn't hide his shock. How far does their defense network extend? The answer came sooner than expected. Reports flooded in of energy readings from Saturn, from Neptune, even from the distant Kuiper Belt. In the underwater command center, Admiral Reed received confirmation that all outer system defenses were now active. She turned to the quantum communication terminal that linked her to humanity's greatest secret. Admiral Grant, this is Reed. The Vex are contained and disoriented. The solar system defense grid is fully operational. Are you ready? The response came instantly, despite the vast distance it traveled. Ready and waiting, Admiral. The fleet stands prepared to return home. Reed looked at Captain Miller. Send the activation code for Protocol Thunderstorm. Miller nodded solemnly and entered a series of commands. Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum beacons activated, sending a signal into the darkness beyond Neptune. On the dominant asterisk, Drell was desperately trying to formulate a new strategy when Officer Tull gasped. Commander, massive energy disturbances detected at the edge of the system. The tactical display lit up with hundreds of new signatures appearing seemingly from nowhere. The readings made no sense to Drell. The energy patterns indicated ships more advanced than anything the Vex had ever encountered. What is that? He whispered, all 4 eyes fixed on the screen. Officer Tull's voice trembled as she answered. Sir, it appears to be a human fleet, and it's heading straight for Earth. In her command center, Admiral Reed allowed herself a small smile. Now they'll understand who they really attacked. The void beyond Neptune rippled and tore as hundreds of ships emerged from what the Vex had believed was empty space. These weren't the primitive vessels Commander Drell had expected from Earth. These ships gleamed with polished titanium and carbon nanotubes, their hulls adorned with the simple emblem of Earth, a blue sphere with a white star behind it. Impossible, Drell whispered, his mandibles clicking rapidly in distress. There are over 300 vessels. Officer Tull's hands trembled as she analyzed the readings. Commander, these ships, their technology is beyond our understanding. They appear to be using some form of gravity manipulation for propulsion. The main view screen showed the human fleet advancing in perfect formation. At the center was a massive vessel that dwarfed even the dominant asterisk. Its hull bore the name Defiance in bold letters. Open communication with their lead ship, Drell ordered, fighting to keep his voice steady. The screen flickered, and the image of a human appeared. Admiral John Grant stood tall in a midnight blue uniform adorned with gold insignia. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his eyes held the cold determination of a predator. "This is Admiral Grant of the Earth Defense Fleet. Your forces have exactly 30 minutes to withdraw from Earth orbit and return to your own territory. Any ship remaining after that time will be considered hostile and destroyed." Drell's upper eyes narrowed while his lower ones blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress in his species. "This is Commander Drell of the Vex Confederation. Earth is now Vex territory by right of conquest. Your hidden fleet is impressive, but the Confederation—" 29 minutes, Commander," Grant interrupted. "I suggest you use them wisely." The transmission ended abruptly. On the bridge of the Defiance Admiral Grant turned to his second-in-command. "Status of the fleet. All ships report ready, Admiral. Quantum shields at maximum capacity. Graviton cannons charged and targeting solutions complete." Grant nodded. "And Admiral Reed's forces. Ground resistance has reclaimed 60% of occupied territories. Their lunar and Martian defenses have the remaining Vex ships contained." Grant studied the tactical display. The Vex had formed a defensive sphere around Earth, their remaining 40 ships trying to cover too much space. It was a doomed formation, and Grant suspected Commander Drell knew it. "Deploy the fleet in theta pattern," Grant ordered. "I want every Vex ship covered by at least 3 of ours." The Earth fleet moved with precision impossible for vessels their size, splitting into smaller groups that took positions surrounding the Vex forces. Each human ship carried weapons specifically designed to counter Vex technology, the result of decades studying captured Vex technology from previous encounters with scout ships that had disappeared near the outer planets. In her underwater command center, Admiral Reed watched as the fleet deployed. "They've arrived right on schedule," she told her staff. "Prepare surface forces for the final push." On the dominant panic was setting in. "Commander, we're receiving surrender requests from 7 of our ships," Toll reported. "They believe resistance is futile." Drell slammed his fist down. "No surrender. The Confederation does not yield to lesser species." "Sir, we're being targeted by multiple weapon systems," another officer reported. "Energy readings suggest their destructive capacity exceeds our shields by at least 300%. As the 30-minute deadline approached, Drell faced the most difficult decision of his military career. The humans had deceived them completely, hiding their true capabilities until the perfect moment to strike. "All ships, prepare tow," he began, but never finished the order. The deadline expired, and the human fleet opened fire in perfect synchronization. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through Vex shields as if they weren't there. Graviton weapons distorted space itself around several Vex vessels, crushing them into unrecognizable masses of metal. From the Defiance Admiral Grant watched dispassionately as the battle unfolded exactly as their simulations had predicted. "Target their command ship," he ordered. "Let's end this quickly." The message to all human forces was simple. Thunderstorm is now in effect. Reclaim what is ours. The dominant shuddered as 3 direct hits penetrated its primary shields. Commander Drell gripped his command chair, struggling to maintain composure as his flagship came apart around him. "Reroute all power to secondary shields," he shouted over the alarms. "Launch all fighters. Target their lead ship." Officer Toole worked frantically at her damaged console. "Commander, our fighters are being intercepted before they can even leave the launch bays. Their targeting systems are too precise." On the main view screen, Drell watched in horror as human ships methodically dismantled his fleet. The Vex vessels, once considered the most advanced in their sector of the galaxy, looked primitive compared to Earth's armada. The human ships moved with impossible agility, their weapons cutting through Vex defenses like they were made of paper. "How?" Drell whispered. How did they hide all this? Aboard the Defiance Admiral Grant coordinated the assault with cold efficiency. Holographic displays showed the battle from multiple angles as his officers relayed status updates. The Vex command ship is isolated, Admiral, his tactical officer reported. Their engines are damaged and weapons at 20% capacity. 17 of their support vessels have been neutralized. The rest are attempting to retreat. Grant nodded. Disable their command ship but keep it intact. I want Drell alive. He turned to a communications officer. Open a direct channel to their commander. Drell's image appeared on screen. The Vex officer surrounded by sparking equipment and injured crew members. His normally gray skin had paled to an ashen white. Commander Drell, Grant began, his voice level. Your fleet is defeated. Your ground forces are surrounded. Surrender now, and we will spare the lives of your remaining troops. Drell's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of confusion in his species. You could have destroyed us at any time, he realized. Why wait? Why let us believe we were winning? Grant's expression remained impassive. Because you needed to learn a lesson that the Vex Confederation has apparently never been taught. Appearances can be deceiving. On Earth's surface, the final phase of humanity's counterattack was underway. From hidden bunkers beneath major cities, advanced human forces emerged with weapons that matched those of their orbital fleet. Vex ground troops found themselves outflanked and outgunned by enemies they had dismissed as primitive. In New York, Captain Alex Martinez led a squad through the ruins of downtown Manhattan, their powered armor giving them strength and speed equal to the Vex soldiers. Their pulse rifles cut through alien armor with precision. Central Park secured, Martinez reported into his comm. Vex forces retreating toward their landing ships. Similar reports came in from around the globe. London, Tokyo, Moscow, Beijing. In every occupied city, the aliens were being pushed back by forces they hadn't known existed. In her underwater command center, Admiral Reed coordinated the global ground assault, her tactical display showing blue human forces advancing against retreating red Vex units. The Paris team has captured a Vex field commander, Captain Miller reported. Berlin and Rome are completely cleared. Reed nodded in satisfaction. And our civilian casualties? Minimal, Admiral. The evacuation protocols worked. Most population centers were empty before the Vex arrived. On the dominant Commander Drell faced the inevitable. His ship was crippled, his fleet destroyed or scattered, his ground forces in full retreat. The humans had orchestrated the perfect trap, and the Vex had walked right into it. This defeat will not stand, Drell warned, his voice trembling with rage. The Confederation will send a real fleet when they learn what has happened here. Admiral Grant's expression hardened. They won't learn anything we don't want them to know, Commander. Your long-range communications have been compromised since the day you arrived. The message that reaches your High Council will be the one we want them to hear. He leaned forward slightly. Your surrender, Commander. Now. Drell looked around at his broken bridge, at his injured crew, at the overwhelming force surrounding his ship. With 4 eyes blinking in defeated synchronization, he gave the order no Vex commander had given in 3 centuries. All Vex forces, stand down. The battle is over. 3 days after the surrender, Commander Drell stood before a council of human leaders in what they called the Peace Chamber, a massive underground facility beneath Geneva. The room's curved walls displayed a real-time holographic map of Earth and the solar system, with green dots representing human installations and red dots showing the remaining Vex prisoners and equipment. You understand now, Commander, that we could have destroyed your forces completely, Admiral Reed said from her seat at the curved table. Instead, we chose restraint. Drell's shoulders slumped, his once proud posture now broken. What I do not understand is how. How did a supposedly primitive species conceal such technology? Our scouts observed your planet for years. Admiral Grant smiled thinly. What you saw is what we wanted you to see. The technology on public display was deliberately outdated. Our true capabilities remained hidden. The holographic display shifted to show images of vast underground complexes, lunar bases, and orbital platforms that had remained undetected by Vex scans. 60 years ago, Reed explained, one of your scout ships crashed in what humans call Antarctica. We recovered technology and began to understand the threat your Confederation might pose. Instead of announcing this to our people, world leaders decided on a different approach. A deception, Drell said bitterly, on a planetary scale. Precisely, Grant nodded. We maintained the appearance of division and technological limitation while secretly unifying and advancing. The resources we might have wasted on conflicts with each other were directed toward preparing for you or any other hostile species. The chamber doors opened, and a human Drell had not seen before entered. He was older than the others, with white hair and a weathered face. Commander Drell, this is Professor Alan White, Reed introduced, the architect of humanity's defensive strategy. White approached the alien commander, studying him with curious eyes. Your mistake was assuming that what you could see was all that existed, a fundamental error in judgment. Drell's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. The High Council will send more ships when they realize what has happened. White smiled. They already know what happened, or rather, what we wanted them to know. The hologram shifted again, showing the Vex transmission. In it, Commander Drell's image spoke to the High Council, explaining that Earth had surrendered with minimal resistance and was now a productive mining colony. The fake report detailed the planet's resources and recommended minimal ongoing presence. This message reached your council 2 days ago, White explained. Your actual distress calls never left our solar system. You falsified my reports. Drell's voice was barely a whisper. We've been intercepting and altering your communications since you arrived, Reed confirmed. As far as the Vex Confederation knows, Earth is a minor, subjugated world of limited interest. Grant leaned forward. Meanwhile, our fleet is expanding. We're building bases throughout our system and beyond. When we do reveal ourselves to the wider galactic community, it will be on our terms, not as victims or targets. Drell suddenly understood the full magnitude of humanity's strategy. You're not just defending your world. You're preparing to expand. We're preparing to survive, White corrected. In a universe where species like yours conquer without provocation, survival requires strength and, occasionally, preemptive action. Reed stood, her posture straight and commanding. You and your surviving crew will be returned to Vex space with modified memories. You'll remember Earth as an easy conquest, unremarkable except for its water resources. And when the truth eventually emerges, Drell asked. Grant's expression was cold. By then, it will be too late. The balance of power will have shifted permanently. As Drell was led from the chamber, he glanced back at the holographic display, now showing hundreds of human ships under construction throughout the solar system. The sight filled him with a dread he had never known before. In the outer reaches of the solar system, beyond Neptune's orbit, the vast majority of humanity's fleet remained hidden, ready to emerge when needed. And in laboratories throughout Earth, scientists continued to improve upon the technology they had gleaned from Drell's own ship. The Vex had laughed at humanity's apparent weakness. No one would make that mistake again.